So far, it had been a busy day. Orbie learned that little green frogs don't eat peanut butter. He and Katie discovered that the only problem with building a city under the bed is that you bump your head a lot. And they both found out that roller skates really like to go backwards. There was a great deal of excitement in the house because today was a special occasion. This was a bit confusing for Orbie, who really didn't know what a special occasion was. A special occasion is a special occasion, Katie said, as she pulled on her sock. This wasn't very helpful to Orbie, as you can imagine. Orbie made an "I'm still confused" kind of sound, so Katie went on. She told him how on special occasions you can go out for dinner in a restaurant, and that you have to use all your best manners and sit nicely. Orbie knew he could do that. On a special occasion, you get to do something different than you do every day. Orbie puffed up his cheeks, and then he pumped himself up and down and then spun across the room. Katie laughed. She didn't mean something different like that. She stretched out her other sock and showed it to him. I mean, like getting all dressed up. Orbie stopped all the spinning. He lay down on the floor and watched the room go around his head. He was very glad he didn't have to do that on special occasions. It made him feel a bit sick. As Katie went to her closet, Orbie wondered what he could wear that would be different. In a flash, he disappeared. Katie came out holding her best dress and was surprised to find him gone. Mom was in the shower, and Dad was whistling to himself as he shaved. Orbie looked into their room. On the bed were Dad's special occasion clothes. There were a lot of them. Dad wouldn't mind sharing some, after all. It was a special occasion. Katie was combing her hair when Orbie walked up behind her. Dad's clothes didn't fit too well, but it was the best Orbie could do for this special occasion. Hey, who took my clothes?" came from Dad's room. Orbie shrank a bit inside Dad's big baggy shirt. Dad came in and found Orbie in his clothes. Dad explained that Orbie came already dressed in bright red polka dots. He didn't need Dad's clothes. Orbie wanted to know why. Dad thought for a minute. "Well, because you are different." Orbie made a little "I don't want to be different" sound. And Dad smiled and touched Orbie on the nose. Dad said he was glad Orbie was different because that was what he liked about him. Orbie smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Later, Orbie walked into Mom's room, and she was sitting at her makeup table. Orbie watched. He wondered why Mom wore makeup. She told him that it was to help cover up any shadows and spots on her face. Orbie looked at Mom carefully and couldn't see any. The makeup stuff really worked. When Mom left the room, Orbie looked at his spotted self in the mirror. Obviously, he would need a lot of makeup. Downstairs, Mom and Katie and Dad were ready. Dad looked at his watch and then called to Orbie. Orbie hurried down the stairs. Mom said, "Oh." Dad said, "What happened?" Katie giggled and said, "I'm sorry to laugh at you, Orbie, but you look really funny." Why wasn't she laughing at Mom? Mom was wearing makeup too. Of course, moms can wear makeup if they want, but not Orbie. Mom took Orbie's hand and started up the stairs. As Orbie followed, he made his best "but how else can I cover up my spots" sound. Mom looked at Orbie. "You're different. You're supposed to have spots." Katie told Orbie she loved his spots because they made her feel happy. Orbie didn't feel too happy about them, but then he didn't want to be different. As Mom was patting Orbie's face dry, a kind of sniffling sound came out of Orbie. He looked at his big red spots and a little tear formed in his eyes. He wanted to be just like Katie. He wanted to wear clothes and not have spots and just be an ordinary kid. Orbie thought maybe he would just go and hang upside down in Katie's closet for a while. But Mom told him to cheer up. It was a special occasion, and she gave him a big hug. Soon Dad dropped them off at the restaurant. Mom and Katie and Orbie walked in. It was a real kid's place. Orbie had never been to a restaurant like this before. There were funny pictures on the walls, and balloons in the air, and clowns walking around. There was even a little merry-go-round in the back. One of the clowns came up to them and asked if they had a reservation. Orbie didn't know, but Mom said they did. The clown showed them a beautiful table, and they all sat down. It wasn't until Dad arrived that Orbie and Katie both noticed that everyone seemed to be staring at Orbie. He felt small. A little prickly feeling inside of him made him wiggle in his seat, and he shrank down as small as he could. Katie felt angry at the people for staring at Orbie. Mom took Orbie's hand. "Pay no attention to them, Orbie. We're going to have a good time." Orbie looked at the other kids, and they all looked back at him. He swallowed hard. He was just about to give up on special occasions for the rest of his life when Dad spoke up. "You know, I don't think these children have ever seen Orbie before. People are often afraid of what they don't understand." Katie remembered that the first time she saw Orbie, she noticed how different he looked. She may have stared too, although she really couldn't remember that. Dad looked over the top of the menu and said to Orbie, "So you will have to show all these nice people that Orbie is nothing to be afraid of, and that he is just about the best thing to get to know." Orbie straightened up in his chair, looked around at all the eyes. He looked at Katie, at the merry-go-round. Katie looked at the merry-go-round too. Orbie made a loud honk, and they were off. And do you know that all the kids came to meet Orbie? And all the kids wished that they had a special friend just like him, too. And do you know what else? It wasn't until the big cake arrived that said, "We're glad you came to stay with us," right on the top of it, that Orbie realized that the special occasion was all about him.